In the news, it's a steady drumbeat of death, and it's inexplicable, as more than 16,000 fighters from 90 countries are racing to join ISIS. Today, 3 British sisters may have taken their 9 little children, some as young as just 3 years old, to join the Islamic Caliphate.
Well, another British citizen, this one a teenager, became the youngest suicide bomber ever for the group. And even here in Virginia, a teen pleaded guilty to recruiting for ISIS. Heather Sells has the latest.
In Northern Virginia, a 17-year-old honors student, Ali Amin, faces up to 15 years behind bars for helping another teen travel to Syria to join ISIS.
Amin worked to create a prolific online presence that included more than 4,000 followers on his Twitter account.
In Britain, a family is shocked by the death of their teenage son, who reportedly killed himself in a suicide bombing for the Islamic State in Iraq.
The fact that some of these youngsters are still going over there, I find really worrying, actually. I sort of despair to go and fight for such an organisation as that. And of course, once they're there, they're swept up into this, and they actually lose. They can't really control things. It's easy to brainwash them.
So what draws these young people to join ISIS and other militant Islamic groups? Recruits are promised a glorious afterlife, as well as a sense of purpose, camaraderie, and belonging in this life.
When you repeat every day to young 16 or 18-year-olds that jihad is best and you will get into paradise, these children think it is right.
Mohammed Nidalha looks at pictures of the son he says he'll never see again, a boy who suddenly took up with ISIS with only a quick goodbye over the phone.
On his way to Syria, he called his sister from Turkey and said, "I love you. I love Mama. I love Papa, but I'm going to Syria."
20-year-old Rita Nidalha was normal, growing up in the Netherlands, interested in girls and discos, until he was wooed by extremist recruiters.
Those people are professionals. They know exactly who their prey is. They pick on the easiest prey. They can easily brainwash.
It's estimated that as many as 15% of the recruits are killed in battle, and that those who return will come back hardened by fighting and trained for war.
I don't get the same son as before. I get a totally different son back. My son might be able to make bombs now. Maybe he can shoot.
Raising the fear that the returning recruits will carry the jihad to their home countries. Heather Sells, CBN News.
Well, that's the way it is, but I tell you what, if they don't have any faith to believe in, then it's so easy to win them to something else. Kids are idealistic. They want faith to believe in, a cause to fight for. They want something that sings in their heart. And if Western civilization and all of its tinsel doesn't appeal to them, then what's left? Well, here's your chance to reach paradise and get 72 virgins in the process. Well, it's not all bad news on the terror front. The U.S. has just eliminated al-Qaeda's second-in-command. An airstrike took him out. John Jessup has more on that story from our own CBN News Bureau in Washington. Here's John.
Pat, that's right. Al-Qaeda is confirming its #2 leader has been killed in Yemen. The terror group issuing a video statement saying that its war on America will continue despite the death of Nasir al-Wahishi. Al-Qaeda announced his deputy will now assume his role. The death of al-Wahishi is considered the harshest blow since Osama bin Laden was killed by Navy SEALs 4 years ago. Al-Wahishi once served as bin Laden's personal secretary. He oversaw al-Qaeda's Yemen branch, which has long been seen as its most lethal, even attempting a number of foiled attacks against the U.S. homeland. Well, Texas is bracing for more flooding as Tropical Storm Bill bears down today from the Gulf. Parts of Houston are still under water from recent flooding, even before the rain begins. Road crews are out in force, hoping to prevent more flooding like the disaster that unfolded over Memorial Day. They're clearing drains, checking pumps, and barricading trouble spots to keep drivers from getting trapped. Residents are making plans too, some choosing to stay home from work to avoid potential problems. The terrifying shark attacks in North Carolina this past weekend are reminding people that beach season can also mean shark season. 2 teenagers swimming in waist-deep water lost limbs in 2 different shark attacks on Oak Island. The attacks occurring within 90 minutes of each other. Now fears are spreading to other states. Last week, a boy was bitten by a shark in Cocoa Beach, Florida. And take a look at this video of 2 sharks spotted at Waveland Beach, Florida. Experts recommend avoiding the water when it's dark or at twilight hours and staying away from piers where fish are drawn by bait. Well, one of the most influential Christian women of our times has died. Missionary and author Elisabeth Elliot passed away at the age of 88. Her words, books, and radio broadcasts has touched the lives of millions. But as Wendy Griffith reports, the people who knew her say those aren't the things by which she wanted to be remembered.
You are loved with an everlasting love. That's what the Bible says.
She loved words and she loved communication with me. She was Aunt Betty and I was little Stevie boy, and I loved her deeply.
Steve Saint is the son of one of the other missionaries killed with Elliot's husband Jim during their time with the Ecuadorian Indians back in the 1950s. He says that while Elliot was well known for many things, it's her faith that people should remember.
I'm very sure she would not want to be remembered as a great writer, as a great speaker. She would want to be remembered as a girl, a woman who trusted God to use her, and he did powerfully.
Janet Wismer would agree. She founded and was the first producer of Elliot's radio program, Gateway to Joy. She remembers how their relationship started.
I wrote her a letter when I was a silly 21-year-old, having read her book, Let Me Be a Woman. And she answered within a week. I had a postcard from her. And that just spoke volumes to me. She took a personal interest in everyone that she met.
God used the death of Elliot's husband and his friends to reach millions. She wrote several best-selling books about their story and those of her and other wives who later lived among the tribe that killed their husbands in order to translate the Bible and bring them the gospel. She was also known for her books and teachings on Christian principles, for relationships, masculinity and femininity, with an emphasis on lordship and obedience. It was a message she often repeated on her radio program.
Let God be God. We so often think we are in control, and then when things are out of control, we are reminded that we never were in control in the first place.
It was something she applied throughout her life, including her final years when she was diagnosed with dementia, an illness her family says she accepted, knowing it came as no surprise to the Lord in whom she trusted.
And underneath are the everlasting arms. This is your friend Elisabeth Elliot.
Pat Elliot is being hailed as a Christian pioneer.
An amazing woman. Jim Elliot, he graduated from Wheaton College, went out there, and said, it is no fool who will trade what he can never lose for what he can never gain. And they surrendered their lives so that those Auca Indians and the Ecuadorian jungles would come to Jesus, and they all got martyred down there. And that started something. And the next thing you know, Elisabeth Elliot and some of the others were living with those Aucas and leading to the Lord. And we had one of the Aucas here on this program, and he was just so excited about knowing the Lord. But they suspected the white people. They thought they were bringing them diseases and were going to take them and kill them and eat them. And I mean, it was just awful. So, but they went down there unarmed and without any support except the Lord. And their sacrifice led to a huge influx of missionary work around the world. Elisabeth Elliot, amazing woman. She was here on this show some years ago, and very charming and very regal in her demeanor.